All right, team. Um, Welcome to the Baktothelab Blueprint Workshop. I'm going to be running through this presentation, probably about an hour, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how many questions are asked or just like the flow of the meeting. So, um, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to take too much of your time. And some of us are New Yorkers in here, so we got the Knicks game at 8:30. So I'm going to try and get us out of here before then. All right. Let me share my screen real quick, and then we'll get this up and running. Okay. All right, here we go. And put this in slideshow mode. Cool. So I'm going to run you guys through uh, the three keys to losing fat, building muscle, and just feeling confident in your body. If you're somebody who has a super packed schedule, you've tried multiple diets, seem to struggle, you have that like rebound effect. Maybe you do a diet, you lose the weight, put it back on. Um, but we're gonna work through it. I'm gonna show you guys my system. This is exactly what I use with my clients, and work with them to achieve whatever goals they're focusing on. Typically, it's something like 15 to 30 pounds of weight loss, building some muscle, improving their performance in the gym, things of that nature. So. Here is what we're going to be covering today. Number one, we're looking at the foundational problem. All right. What or why the problems you've tried before, or not problems, the programs you've tried before keep you failing, right? Why you've done this diet, you've found success with it, but then fell off, and what's going on there. And then I'm going to go over my three phases. That is going to be the build phase, the accelerate phase, and then the keep phase or the keep system. Build phase, we're building that engine before we run it hard. Accelerate phase, this is a strategic fat loss phase that protects the muscle and your metabolism, right? The things we built up in that build phase. And then the keep phase or that keep system is where we lock in those results so that you don't have to go down that hamster wheel of doing it, finding success, falling off, being disappointed, finding the motivation to get back up again, and that constant hamster wheel when it comes to dieting. So those are the three phases. First, let's talk about the foundation. All right. So this is probably four things that you've said in your head, maybe right now, previously. I just need to be more consistent, right? If I could stop falling off, I'd be fine. And the thing with that is consistency is going to follow good program design. It's not the other way around, right? You can't just say, oh, I need to be like more disciplined or I need to be more consistent. If your program is flawed, the end result is going to be flawed too. You're not going to have long-term sustainable results. Other thing, or number two, I've tried keto, calorie counting, every program, nothing works for me, right? Those approaches are just focusing on fat loss or weight loss here. They're targeting the symptom. Tonight, we're actually going to fix the problem. We're going to go through those three phases to get rid of that problem. I know what to do. Eat less, move more, more cardio. I just can't seem to do it, right? I know what I got to do. I just can't do it. I can't get motivated. I don't have the discipline. Thing is, knowing and doing are two different problems. Okay. Tonight, we're going to close that gap. And the one that I'm consistently hearing from a lot of people, especially now, is that there's just so much conflicting information out there, right? You go on your phone, you scroll, you see five different people have said five different things. Um, you don't know what's right. So that ends tonight. You're going to leave here with one clear system. All right. So in the next 90 minutes, maybe a little bit shorter, depending, we're going to go through all three of these phases. Build phase, here, why you need to eat more before your body can effectively lose fat and what skipping this does to your results. Number two, that accelerate phase, why the way most diets that run a deficit do it backwards. All right. Especially for someone who's wanting to keep their muscle on, their definition. And then that keep system. This is something that most programs don't do. And this is the reason most people get results or get the result and then they end up losing it because they don't have this system in place. All right. So I want you to take a second and imagine this. You wake up Saturday and you actually like what you see, right? You wake up in the morning, you walk past the mirror, you're like, oh, hey, I went out last night and it's not bad. I feel pretty good about this. Or you're just walking past the mirror in the gym, maybe you're like, oh wow, damn, where did that come from? Like I've spoke to clients before where they have like those moments and like, oh, okay, things are working. Another example, you order dinner Friday night and you don't have that kind of like guilt spiral that sometimes we can get. Um, 6 months from now, weights are that felt heavy previously are starting to feel light. You're making progress in the gym. That's not a fantasy. That's what happens when you run the system. Okay. A little bit about me, because some people want to hear about credentials. I have a bachelor's of science in health science with a background in clinical research in cancer and HIV/AIDS. Did some clinical research, data management in labs previously before becoming a full-time coach. I got my Precision Nutrition Level 1, NCI, so that's Nutrition Coaching Institute Level 1 and 2, as well as my CrossFit Level 1. I've helped clients lose 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds and build muscle and get better in their respective sport. And for me personally, I went from skinny kid, 115, 120, 130 pounds. I had a binge drinking problem every weekend, was hitting the sauce hard. I was always tired. Didn't really have, actually, not didn't really, didn't have energy. Um, and was constantly needing to sleep 10, 12 hours a night and still need to take naps. That actually ended up causing me to to get kicked out of school. So um yeah, and here I am. Bounce back, not dealing with that anymore. And on the other side of things. So, and I can attribute that all to my diet, nutrition, training, and just learning about my body. All right. So it's not you, it's the formula you've been handed. Now, before I show you three keys, let me show you the shift that makes all three of them work. Okay. What you've been told. If I just had more discipline, I would get the results, right? You hear that all the time. I just need more discipline. I gotta be more disciplined. Thing is, you can't out-discipline a program that's built the wrong way for you and your body. And that's what these crash diets are, like these 30-day challenges, these quick fixes. Um, it's just built incorrectly. And that's why they're not sustainable. That's why you always fall off. That's why you lose the 15, 20, 30 pounds. And then 6 months after the fact, you put it back on. So, what this means for you, instead of jumping straight into a calorie deficit, which is what those programs do, and hoping that discipline stays, you build, right? You build your metabolism up, you build muscle, you build strength, you build your foundation, you build your habits so that when you do go through that fat loss phase and you do go through that accelerate phase, you and your body are in a spot, in a position that is going to allow for that deficit to work. Then after the fact, right, you keep the results. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that, this exit phase or what we call a reverse diet after that accelerate phase. All right, so let me just take a sip real quick. This is Steph. Steph was one of my clients. She was in graduate school, working on her master's. I think now she's working on her PhD, or she just got it. Um, but when we were working together, she was working on her master's, working full time, stress eating. And for her, she was just grabbing information off of TikTok, Instagram, just anything online, following different diets, different nutritional advice, different programs. She would say she would do one workout from this person, one workout from this person. So she was kind of getting in the gym occasionally, but there was no plan. And the same with her diet. There was like no plan there. Okay. And what worked for her is just us building that foundation, her gaining confidence in that foundation, establishing sound habits, and it shifted from her thinking, okay, I have to just restrict to actually fueling her body, fueling her gym sessions, fueling the performance, and not worrying about the scale, right? Fueling. And then after fueling and building her body up, that's when we went to that cut. So, and she said, happiest place I've been, all from shifting my mind around food and being kinder to the girl in the mirror. So when we did it in 6 months, her schedule was the same, her life was the same. It's just a different relationship with her and her body. And it's not because she always had the discipline. Hell, the girl was working and getting her master's, right? She has the discipline. It's already within her. It's just, hey, getting the proper plan to maintain and drive her forward, right? Even when those hiccups come up, because those obstacles are definitely going to pop up, you know? All right. Here's a couple more examples of some clients I've worked with. Gracie, also a student, also working full time. We did a body recomposition for her, and it was a lot of it was mental. Just learning, hey, giving herself permission to eat more. And when I say eat more, it's just not eating like crazy. It's eating the proper balance of protein, carbs, and fats for her and her body, because everybody's different. Um, Rob, right? He was already training hard. He's doing CrossFit, training hard, but had no real structure with his diet. Once we got that structure, that's when he started to see results in regards to his body fat, right? We dropped from 28.7 to 21%. And again, also a mindset shift. And then Carrie, she was training already, didn't really know much about nutrition. She'd done different diets in the past, but was lacking in that regard. And then through working together, she tackled her first half marathon, was able to achieve a bunch of lifting, personal records, and her physique changed. But again, the mindset. A lot of it's mindset, y'all. None of these people are exceptional, right? They just had the right formula. They applied it in the right sequence for their body and the life that they actually want to have. And when we talk about these three phases, I want you to know it's not like, hey, we need to cut everything else out, right? There's balance here. And I tell clients like it's 85-15. 85% of this stuff is us locking in and doing the thing. And then you have that 15% wiggle room, right? So that you can go out to dinners, so that you can go out to barbecues. It's about to be summer here in NYC, so that you can go out and watch the Knicks game at a bar or something like that, right? Whatever you want to do. So there is balance in here. All right, let's talk about the actual phases themselves. All right. One, we got the build phase. This is where we build that engine, right? And when I say engine, it's your body. We establish your real maintenance calories. Train specifically to build muscle. We're focusing on building as much muscle as possible within the build phase. and also building the habits, building the foundation before we tackle that deficit. If we don't have the habits in place, it's going to not be fun. Okay? Because when you're in that deficit, when you've been in that deficit for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, it starts to get pretty rough. So you gotta stay the course. And if you don't have the habits, man, good luck. So let's talk about the build phase. Before your body can lose fat effectively, it needs to be strong enough and metabolically healthy enough to actually do it. Most programs are going to skip this step entirely. They're going to go straight into restriction, straight into more cardio. And that's why most programs produce temporary results, right? You see it all the time. 30-day fat loss challenge. People do it. They lose 20 pounds. Hey, let me talk to you in 6 months, right? How many times does that happen? If it's happened to you, I know it's happened to me. Pop it in the chat. All right. Give me a heads up. Say, yeah, that's happened to me before. I'm curious. Happened to me multiple times before I figured it out. But yeah, build phase is exactly what it sounds like. You eat at maintenance. We're not in a deficit. You train specifically to build muscle, improve strength, and repair metabolic damage from years of dieting. Okay. Yep. Mike said, yep, same Mike. All right, here we go. Keys. Why is it different? All right. Conventional approach. We calculate a deficit on day one versus the build phase. We establish a true maintenance first. Restrict calories and add cardio. We want to build muscle before we're cutting. Lose muscle alongside fat because we're just in that deficit versus having the body burn fat preferably. By week 10, metabolism starts to slow down. In the build phase, we want our metabolism to keep going, right? Keep elevating, building more muscle. More muscle you have on your body, the more your body burns calories. So that means your metabolism is going to be faster here with more muscle we have. Results disappear when the program ends. Results are built on a real foundation. So step one, we're going to establish your maintenance calories. That's what you got to do. All right. First step is figuring out how much food your body actually needs to function at its best right now, not what a quick calculator says online, just using generic formulas. All right. Use data. What I do is I'll use data from our check-ins, energy levels, sleep, training performance to dial in that specific maintenance number. So what I've seen is most people come into the program and they're just eating too little. Years of restriction. I've had females come in and they're telling me they're eating 1,200 calories, 1,300 calories to try and lose weight, but it's not working. Now, some of that might be, hey, you're tracking wrong, but also what's happening on the flip side is 1,200 calories is really, really low versus, hey, imagine you're in that same deficit, you're losing weight, losing body fat, but instead of eating 1,200 calories, you're eating 1,700. Big difference. You're going to have way more energy throughout the day. You're not going to be dragging ass. You're not going to be snapping or hangry or any of that stuff. You're going to be actually feeling pretty decent and in that deficit. That's why it's important to establish the maintenance calories. Two, train to build muscle, not just burn calories. How many people have a watch, Whoop, Garmin, Fitbit, whatever? And the first thing, well, not the first thing to do, but the big number that they follow on here is, oh, how many calories did I burn? Right? I'm looking at it right now. Sure, burning calories is important, but also the other thing is building muscle, training with purpose, building muscle. Not just doing random workouts and then 20 minutes on the treadmill. No. Okay, you can't keep hopping from program to program. What you need is to stay consistent with the same training program for weeks on end, weeks, months, even. Progressive overload, hitting specific lifts, multiple times a month, adding a little bit of weight or adding a little bit of more reps, right? Building and getting stronger here. And then building the habits before the deficit hits. Like I said, this is really, really important. It's not just physical preparation, right? Building muscle and your metabolism, it's mental and behavioral. During this phase, you're going to learn how to track your food without obsessing. Okay? You learn how to navigate, right? I mentioned 85-15. You learn how to navigate those dinner outings, those work events, weekend trips, vacations. How many times do people go on vacation and then they come back and man, it takes forever to get back into the flow of things, right? If you have the habits and the foundation set, you can go on that vacation, you can go on that weekend trip, enjoy yourself, go for it. And then when you come back, it's business as usual. You're back in it because you've established that foundation. Right, here's Carrie. We were talking about her running her marathon, her half marathon and getting stronger. You can see body recomposition as we were doing that. We focus on performance in the gym first and focus on her foundation and then tackle some of that fat loss. Okay, so we established her real maintenance. She was dealing with some ankle injuries and things like that, hip stuff. Um, so we worked around her injuries. Still, we're able to hit a ton of different, not workouts, specific movements, I should say, so that we weren't re-injuring anything. And through that, she was still getting stronger in the gym, eventually overcoming those old ankle injuries and able to run that half marathon, smashing some PRs. Number two, the accelerate phase. All right. Setting your specific deficit, keeping protein high, training heavy, step count. Not blasting cardio here. Step count is more than enough. It's going to drive the burn. And then adjusting weekly based on biofeedback. Accelerate phase, all right? Because you built that foundation in phase one, this deficit runs completely different than anything you've done in the past. Your metabolism is off to the races. You're gunning it. Okay, muscle mass is high because you've been training, you've been pushing in the gym, you've been intentional with your diet and your eating, and you've been intentional with your training. Because of that, we've built muscle here. So when you enter this calorie deficit, muscle, more muscles in there, more muscles on the body, more muscles on the frame, metabolism's higher, which also means the deficit that we're going to be in doesn't have to be so drastic. You remember me just moments ago mentioning that 1,200 calorie deficit. Instead, you built that metabolism up in phase one. Now that deficit can be something like 1,700 or 1,800. All right, so this accelerate phase is going to be 8 to 12 weeks of strategic fat loss, eating in that controlled deficit. You're still training hard. You're manipulating your food around your training session so that you still feel fueled and ready to go in the gym. You're not dragging ass. And systemically increasing your step count to accelerate the burn. So why are these different than conventional fat loss approach? I mentioned that strategic deficit, 300 to 500 calories built on the data, 300 to 500 calories off your maintenance, right? Instead of just like, oh, I'm just gonna eat 1,200 calories. Like, it's, don't get me started. Uh, Steps instead of chronic cardio. Too many times I'm seeing people, hey, I gotta get on the rower, I gotta get on the bike, I gotta go for a run. When all you need to do is just increase your step count, go outside, get some sun, right? Go from 5,000 steps to 8,000 to 10,000 and just hang out there. You don't have to crush yourself in the gym to get a result. Protein. We're going to keep that protein high, keep lifting heavy, maintain that muscle mass, that skeletal muscle mass throughout that deficit. weekly adjustments from real check-ins instead of those results stalling by like week 8 or week 10. And then having that muscle be protected throughout because you're prioritizing protein, but because you're training hard, because you've manipulated your food uh, alongside your training, and you can push in those workouts, you're not going to lose muscle in this phase. So deficit setup, how you go about it. For most clients, this is going to be something like 300 to 500 calories below your maintenance. This exact number is specific to you, and we adjust in real time based on those weekly check-ins. All right. That's what I do with my clients. We got those weekly check-ins either on Zoom or check-in form, and just based on that data, hey, do we maintain this deficit or do we got to tweak something? But everyone's deficit is going to be different. Because everyone's going to have a different starting point. That's why these generic programs that say, hey, you should be at eating 1,500 calories. No. Pillar two, protect the muscle. I'm going to keep protein high, train heavy throughout the entire fat loss phase. Protein is not optional in this deficit. You need to keep it high. It's the difference between losing fat and muscle. So keep the training intense, focus on that progressive overload even while you're cutting. Still trying to push the weights each week, increasing the weights here, or each week increasing the reps here, or increasing the sets. Slowly building up. All right. Lifting heavy in a deficit sends signals to your body that muscle is needed and your body's going to protect what it needs. So protein plus progressive overload in that deficit is going to amount to fat loss without the muscle being lost, right? Just like Rob, we kept that 28, or we went from 28.7 to 21% body fat while getting stronger in CrossFit. And then step count protocol. This is simple. Increasing your step count, right? If you're somebody who works at the desk all day, you have so much room for improvement here. You can get outside. Maybe you can take a call outside while walking, take a call on your lunch break and walk outside. Don't take a call. Just go outside. You don't want to go outside? All right, you can go to the gym and just hop on the treadmill, set it to an incline, get your steps in there. You don't want to go to the gym? You can get a treadmill at the house, small walking pad, and just get those steps in. For every 1,000 additional steps per day, you're going to burn 40 to 50 extra calories. And across something like 90 days or 3 months here, that's going to add up to real fat loss. And it's not going to send a stress signal to your body. When you're doing those extra cardio sessions, 45 minutes of running, 20 minutes of rowing, sprinting, whatever, that's adding stress onto your body. And when you're in a deficit, you're already in a stress state. So it's double stress plus the stress of life, stress of work, family, all those things compiled on top of one another can really put a pause or slow down the fat loss. So if we can try our best to minimize stress in certain areas like cardio, this is where step step count is really important, and in my opinion is the key. Right. So Rob, training multiple times a week, eating healthy foods, doing the right things on paper, but no targeted plan for calories and macros, and an all or nothing mindset holding everything back. All the time, Rob was going all in when he would start, and then he'd fall off. All in when he would start, and then something would happen, an obstacle would pop up, throw him off, and then it'd be really hard to pick back up. So we established that foundation in phase one. Phase two, set that personalized deficit, kept training hard, manipulated his food around his training to fuel his workouts and lose body fat. Next phase, the keep system, phase three. And you guys just give me a thumbs up in the chat real quick, just letting me know, like, hey, I'm following, you're not going too fast. Cool. All right. Keep system. Reverse diet protocol. Let me know in the chat if you've ever heard of a reverse diet. Reverse diet. You can just type in the chat, or you can raise your hand. Cool. Oh, think
Hmm.
Jake, you're trying to say something?
Yeah,
Okay,
I was trying. Okay.
got you.
Okay.
I'm gonna run through the keep system now, team. All right, keep system. Reverse diet protocol, reintroducing flexibility that makes it last, locking in that identity shift, and then keeping every result you built from phase two, that accelerate phase. So most programs are going to end when the diet ends. That's just what it is. You lose the weight. All right. Congratulations. You look amazing. You're off. You've done it. Problem with that is the rebound effect. All right. That's why I implement the keep system, because this is a structured transition that's going to lock in everything that you built so that you don't rebound. So that 6 months to a year from now, you still have the results and you have the understanding of how to get or how to take yourself through a deficit. So if you wanted to repeat the system or the program in that progression, you could do it on your own because you have the ability, you have not only the knowledge, but the ability to apply it. Right. So this is the phase almost no program includes. And in my opinion, it's the single most important reason why people who get results keep them. It's a structured reverse diet after that accelerate phase where we slowly bring your calories back up to maintenance in a way that's going to preserve that body composition, right? The stuff that you built from phase one and phase two and stabilize your metabolism at its new higher level. So why is it different? The keep system versus conventional programs ending. Diets end, you go back to normal eating. Maybe Maybe you've picked up a couple tools along the way, but you fall back into those old habits versus the keep system, which is a structured reverse diet. We're still on top of our calories. We're adding them in slowly over time and building back up to maintenance here. Your metabolism is going to catch up before the calories are fully restored. So your body's going to bounce back, right? When you're in that calorie deficit for a while, your body adapts, your metabolism starts to slow down because it's like, hey, we're not eating as much, which means, hey, we're not going to move as much. We're going to slow down. All right, we need to preserve as much energy as possible. And that's why if you're not eating enough protein through that accelerate phase and training hard, if you're not doing that, your body, the first thing it's going to let go of is muscle. Muscle is expensive, and if we're not eating and we're just burning, your body's gonna be like, nah. So it's gonna let go of that muscle. That's why that's important. Coming back here, body composition keeps improving on the way up. You're getting more food in slowly, which means you can push a bit more in your workouts. And because it's slow, you're not gonna see boom overnight that 5 pound or 10 pound increase that we sometimes can see happen on the scale. Results are there to stay. Sometimes even look better, right? You've gone through that cut and now we're adding more food. You're getting more carbs in. You're looking fuller on top of the cut that you just did. So that composition is looking A1. And then lastly, it's going to be that identity shift that's going to lock in that permanent change. All right. Instead of you blaming your own discipline here. So step one, reverse diet itself, right? Adding calories back in the slow, controlled increments along the way, 500 to 100 calories per week while monitoring your body weight, your measurements, and your biofeedback. I keep saying biofeedback. What I mean by that is, hey, how's your sleep? Hey, how's your stress? What's your hunger like? What's your libido like? What is your like like are you getting sick? Like asking about all those things because those come into play when we're talking about the reverse diet here, or just in general, just um calories and macros and your overall nutrition and diet. We got to talk about the biofeedback. So when done correctly, the scale may not move significantly for weeks, but your body composition continues to improve as the metabolism catches up. So you actually look leaner at higher calories than you did at the bottom of your deficit. And that's not an accident, that's the reverse diet working. So slowly controlling that calorie increase. And for many, it's gonna come from carbohydrates. That's what I do for my clients. I'll keep protein the same. Fat, we're probably going to increase fat a little bit because it's usually lower when we're going through that deficit, right? We want to improve our hormone profile. We want to improve our immunity here and cognitive function. So, and we need fats. So we'll see an increase in fat, but a lot of it's going to be increase in carbohydrates along the way. And that's going to help fuel those workouts and just allow you to have more sustained energy throughout your day. So the goal is a higher maintenance, not just returning to where you were. Like the higher your maintenance, right? If you start and your maintenance is at 2000, you hold that and then you go through a deficit at 1700 or 1650, and then you go through a reverse diet and you build it back up, and now your maintenance is at 22. Guess what? When you go through your cut again or that accelerate phase, instead of being at 1650 or 1700, now that we're at 22, we could be at 1900 or 1850. So you can start your deficit at a higher calorie marker, which means you'll just have a little bit, you're not going to be dragging as much. That's why it's really important to build that metabolism up. Step two, reintroducing the flexibility that makes this sustainable for life. During phase two, most clients are fairly structured with their eating. That level of structure is right for that 8 to 12 week fat loss phase. It is not how any human should eat permanently, though, right? We're being intentional during that accelerate phase to lose body fat, but it's not long term eating that way. And that's why this phase is important. Slowly adding in that food and this, saying to your body or sending the signals to your body, hey, it's safe. It's okay. You're in a good spot. You're getting more energy in, right? This is the keep system. We practice and use the skills from phase one and two in real life. So, like I mentioned before, going out for dinners, being at a holiday party, a barbecue, traveling from work without compliance completely falling apart. And in my opinion, the most important thing is locking in that identity. Okay. The goal is just not about having a body that looks different. It's a person who sees themselves differently. This is what clients consistently say is the most powerful part of the work is that identity shift. I'm someone who knows how to eat for my goals. I train consistently. I am someone my family looks to for this, right? I'm that person. That identity shift is what makes this permanent. If we don't have that shift, it's not going to happen. Even if you get the results, they're going to be temporary because you haven't made that shift. Okay, so when the plan matches who you believe you are, you're not going to fall off. Like you see the physical changes, and that's what gets people started, and that's what creates that buy-in. And as those physical changes start to snowball, you also start to mentally make that shift, and you're like, oh, okay, when I do this, I feel much better, right? When I sleep 7.5 hours versus 5, I'm well rested. I can push a little bit more in the gym. Because I'm pushing a little bit more in the gym, I'm noticing the way my clothes are fitting. They're fitting a little bit differently. People are coming up to me and making comments and saying, "Hey, man, Andy, what are you doing? You're looking a little bit more jacked. What's going on here?" Right? Those kinds of things. So many times I'm having conversations with some of my clients, and someone will make those kind of comments, and it's a little bit of that morale boost. And it's like, okay, I'm on the right path. I'm like, yes, it's external validation, but hey, sometimes we need that, and that's just a little kick in the butt, and it's like, okay, I'm on the right path. And as you get that, all the other things, like I've mentioned before, continue to snowball, and that identity shift really, you really begin to own it, is what I'm trying to say. Hey, here we go. We got Chris here. I think Chris is actually in here somewhere. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There he is. There we go. Oh, so we got Chris in here. Um, Chris, man, awesome. This was an awesome result. Tried for years to build size, and we did it in 6 months. From our conversation, he had tried different training programs, different gyms, different diets, but was never really able to make some serious headway when it came to putting on size and muscle. And this is what he wanted to do, and it was frustrating. So working with Chris, went through custom nutrition and training built specifically for his goal. We built that foundation. We ran through the phases, and we had honest check-in conversations when obstacles popped up. And Chris said, "It's crazy seeing this side by side." Andy set me up with the education to make the results last and to make even more gains from here. Nice job, Chris. All right. Three keys, one system. The order is non-negotiable. So build, accelerate, keep. Why the sequence is non-negotiable? Run the deficit on the body that fights it. Muscle loss, metabolic slowdown, plateau by week 10. If we skip phase one, if we skip phase three, body rebounds, right? Within 90 days, results disappear. The individual or the client blames themselves incorrectly. And so you got to have all three in sequence. If you do that, metabolism's elevated, muscles protected, identity's locked in, the results last. When all three are running, you're not managing symptoms, you are generating your life from the inside out. That is the Baktothelab blueprint. So before we go any further, I have this question. Are you the kind of person who is willing to do what it takes to get this right? If yes, there's only one question left. Okay. Do this on your own, or you do this with help. Uh, Now, before we move on, drop in the chat and let me know which one of these points kind of stood out for you, right? Was it the build phase? Was it the accelerate phase? Was it the keep phase? I'm curious. What point stood out for you the most? Or you can unmute yourself and let me know. We could talk about it. Or we could be shy. That's okay. Okay. All right, we're gonna be shy. That's all right. I get it. It's 7:49 in the evening. Some of y'all think about the next game. All right. So I asked, are you the kind of person who is willing to do what it takes to get this right? Right? Are you gonna do this on your own, or are you gonna do this with help? Right? Two paths. So, two paths forward. If you're going to do it yourself, you can take tonight's framework, right? I'm recording this. I'm planning on sending this out right after. So you'll have all the information. And you can take tonight's framework and the sequences and the phases alone, and you can figure out your maintenance, your deficit, and the macros you need to run through those phases. You can design your training program without the accountability. You can navigate the mental side of the diet without a coach, and you can stay consistent when life gets hard because it is going to get hard. Obstacles are going to pop up. That's just the way it goes. And then after running through phase two, navigating that and hoping to avoid that rebound. Or if you take path two, done with you, that's the blueprint, custom nutrition and training built for your body, goals and schedule, done with you implementation of all three phases in sequence, weekly check-ins via Zoom or check-in form. I look at your data and in real time, direct coaching access when questions come up, they will. The accountability that turns I know what to do into I did it. And then that reverse diet exit strategy so you can keep those results. All right. So that back to the lab blueprint is 6 months done with you. For anybody who's over 30 who's busy and is just done with guessing. They just want to get it right. Okay. So what's included in the program, if that's something you wanted to do, is like I mentioned, a custom nutrition and training program, direct coaching access, progressive overload in that training program, resource library, all three phases, build, accelerate, keep, sequence correctly, and then those weekly check-ins. And this is what a 6 month journey looks like. All those people that I showed you previously, this is what we ran. So the onboarding and the assessment, we ran that build phase, we ran the accelerate phase, and then we ran that keep system or that keep phase, that reverse diet to lock in those results. So running through the program, if that's something you want to do, you become the person who knows how to eat for their goals. You stop starting over on Monday and you start being the person who got it done. This is not for someone who's looking for a 30-day shortcut or a quick fix. It's a 6 month progression. It's those three sequences I mentioned. It's a intentional program. The results we get are real and they last. And that requires a real commitment at the end of the day. There's no judgment. Um, if that's not for you. I mentioned the call in here. I just remember I didn't mention the assessment call, so that's my bad. Um, but I'll tell you right now, what we would do from here is pop onto an assessment call. And what that consists of is literally just one-on-one and us going through your diet history, your training history, what's worked for you or what you feel has worked, and then what didn't work, what your current goal is or what you're trying to achieve in 6 months to a year from now. Um, and then while doing that or while running through that, me taking notes and figuring out, hey, what's the best path for you, like laying out a roadmap for you so that you can take that roadmap and implement it. And then if you and I both feel like, hey, this is a good fit, then and only then will we talk about options for the Back to the Lab Blueprint program. But this is not that assessment call is not a sales call. I'm not someone that's going to push, hey, you need to join my program. No, right? It's that assessment call is basically like me being a mechanic. You come into the shop saying, hey, something's wrong with my car. I don't know what. Us going under the hood, checking it out, seeing, okay, we're struggling with this. This was successful in the past, but then this obstacle popped up and we fell off. Okay, what are the immediate actions that you can take to start getting a result? Right? That's what this call is, just to put you in a good spot, um, so that you can take immediate action and start changing your life with regards to your health and your fitness and your body composition. And like I said, if it makes sense to move in the direction of us working together, awesome. If not, hey, I'm gonna hit you with all the notes that I took, and you're gonna get that Google Doc, and that's for you, and you're off to the races. Okay. So there is a bonus for everybody who came live on here, and I'm gonna send you guys that. We'll go through that after the fact. But just a quick reminder, Rob and Steph, lifting PRs, body recomposition, Rob dropping body fat while improving in the gym, his performance. These aren't outliers. They're standard outcome when the system gets implemented properly with the right support. All right. So because you guys attended live, I'm going to send over in the chat right now a custom macro starter blueprint. Okay, it's valued at $197. I'm going to personally calculate everyone's starting maintenance calories and macro targets and send that over to you. All you're going to do is click the link and fill out this form. All right. And then based on your answers, I'm going to run through that and shoot you an email following up and laying out your custom macro starter blueprint. And if you decide within the next 48 hours that you want to hop on that assessment call, it's totally free. If you hop on that assessment call, we run through it. And then at the end of the call, you're like, hey, I do want to work together. And I feel that we're a good fit and you feel like it's a good fit, then you'll get $150 off of the program. But that's only if you book that assessment call within the next 48 hours, right? After 48 hours is up, both of these bonuses are going to be gone, right? So I already mentioned kind of what happens on that call. Uh, Map out your specific situation, identify what's getting in the way, and then discuss that path forward. Okay, you're not going to get pitched, you're just getting a plan. Now, if you are interested in that assessment, you're going to text Blueprint to this phone number right here, 516-212-7737, right now to grab that spot. Again, this is a free assessment call. It's going to be about 30 to 45 minutes on Zoom. Again, no pitch, no pressure. You're going to walk away with a plan regardless. So yeah, I don't think you have anything to lose there. Um, Now, if you can't text Blueprint or if you can't text me, you can drop a Blueprint in the chat here and I'll DM you the link or I'll email you the link. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Again, and I'll just drop the number and stuff in the chat too. And then I'm going to drop that macro starter set for you guys. Here we go. 1 second, team. Okay. Um, so here, that's if you want to set up that assessment call. And then here is the link to that macro starter blueprint. Like I said, you just need to fill out the form. It's just a Google form. It's a couple of questions. You guys fill that out, and then I will go over it and respond. And yeah, any questions about the phases? Um, I'm here live, so and you guys are on the call. So if you have any questions about the phases or anything I kind of talked about, now's the time to ask away. Don't be shy. Could pop on here. Okay. I seen a couple of people did type in blueprint and are interested on the assessment call. Um, awesome. Cool, cool, cool. Hey, what's up, Abe? Uh, hey, no problem, Chris. No problem. All right. Well, I will leave it at that. If there's no questions, um, like I said at the beginning, everyone's gonna get the replay here. Uh, once this gets processed, I'll send that email out. Make sure to fill out that form, all right, if you want that macro starter. And then if you're interested in that assessment, text blueprint to that number. And yeah, that'll wrap up today. Thank you for joining. You guys have an amazing evening. And let's go Knicks. We start in 30 minutes. All right.
Go Knicks.
Let's go Knicks. There you go. Knicks in five. Knicks in five. All right. We'll wrap it up there. Thank you all for popping on. And maybe we'll talk soon. Good night, everyone.